Thanks a lot. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to speak today about webinar number 9. This is the critical requirements for. I just want to make sure that I'm sharing it. Am I sharing it, Ilian? Just give me a thumbs up.
No, Nico, you are going to, yeah, it's shared now.
Ah, thank you. Righto. Okay. So good morning, everyone. I just want to welcome everyone. This is our 9th webinar, and this has to do with the critical requirements for the policies or policy development. Now, as we have spoken in the previous webinars, we as a company, Crest Advisory Africa, here at the bottom right, just want to put my pointer on a laser pointer. Crest Advisory Africa is a company that is driving management systems. We are driving ISO systems, and one of the critical environments within systems is actually that you have to have evidence and that you have to have documentation about this. So I will be going through this, and I will give you some information. Please mute your microphone if it's possible. Everybody just mute it, please, because we need to make sure that firstly the recording is of good quality, and that everybody can actually hear without any disruptions. So please, your video as well, you can keep it on if you want to. It is just going to be worse or bad for people that hasn't got good streaming quality, and because of that we are asking you, please switch it off if you can. Then let me finish with my presentation. It will take between 40 and 50 minutes. We have booked for your time, or we have contracted your time for an hour. I don't want to go over that at all. If you have got any comments or questions that you want to raise in the Zoom box, in the Zoom chat box that is at the bottom of your screen, you can go there and you can see the Zoom box. Please leave your questions there. Helene will be addressing that for us after the webinar, and we will answer all your questions there. And then the webinar shall be recorded, and it will be made available on our YouTube channel that we are uploading on a daily basis when these things with these presentations. Okay, so just want to go over the table of contents. So I'm going to introduce to you who is Crest Advisory Africa Pty Limited. Then just again the 7 ISO principles. Then I'm going to speak about the document hierarchy, then document templates, and then we're going to be doing an ISO document development requirements. We are going to speak about that. That is in clause 7.5 of ISO. Then we're going to speak about the document lifecycle, practical documents that we are going to go through just to show you how it is developed, what you need to do, and what is the requirements there. And if we've got enough time, I will also just go through with you our analytic system. That is actually an ISO analytic system that is working with compliance and with your documents. And then there's some endorsements and freebies, and then if there's questions, we will address that. So who is Crest Advisory Africa? We have been established on the 13th of June of 2014. So we are 6 years old. I'm the founder and the CEO of Crest Advisory Africa, and then we are specializing in corporate governance. So corporate governance, before ISO, actually, corporate governance is everything that you need to do and need to have in place to make sure that your business is doing the right things right. That is as simple as that. Now, in support of the corporate governance, we are speaking about assurance providers. Now, assurance providers across the whole value chain of a company is enterprise risk management, it is quality management, it is health and safety management, it is business continuity, it is compliance management, it is environmental management on a mine, it is there's a number of these environments. There's even anti-bribery management that we are certified in. So we have got certification and accreditation through the PCB. Now the PCB is the Professional Evaluation Certification Board. They are based in Canada. You can go and Google them on pcb.com by all means, and we are one of the platinum partners. Now that is for me significant because platinum partner, they've got in total about 1,920 accredited partners across the globe in 150 countries, and there's only 29 platinum partners, and we were number 23. So we are, I want to say, in this professional certification body, we are actually one of the top 23 companies in 150 countries, and we are working with all these management systems, and that is for us a huge honor. Just want to give you an overview quickly about our offerings that we are having for you. So firstly, our business is doing training. So we're doing training in ISO and other training structures as well. We've got an advisory services division. We've got an auditing division. We've got products that we are putting out into the market, like our management system toolkits. I will speak about that later. Technology, we've got the Isolytic system that I was speaking about in the agenda and the introduction that is available. We've got business incubation. That is actually where we are taking struggling businesses, and we are working with a turnaround strategy to put them on the right path, improve their business, etc. We've got a computer and cyber forensics environment that is looking firstly at digital forensics as well as information security forensics. We've got international certification. That is what we are doing. We've got an engineering division, and we've got project management division as well. So if we're looking at come on slide, you want to go forward. So if you're looking at our footprint, Crest Advisory is a company that has got access to all these markets. We are part of a company and companies that has got these kind of footprint. So we as Crest has got offices in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, and we are part of this whole structure across the globe in 32 other countries where we have got inputs in, as well as where we've got clients across the globe. So I want to speak about the requirements. So our discussion today is about the requirements for policy development. Now, policies, if I've been in this environment for some time, and the moment that you are speaking about policies and procedures, people are getting, I want to say, very confused because they don't know the structure around that. Firstly, but secondly, also people don't know what is the value of documentation, and I want to explain this to you today. So if you're looking at the 7 ISO management principles, if we're looking at this, this is a critical environment that we are actually working with to say, firstly, there need to be leadership in a company. Secondly, engagement of people. Thirdly, a process approach. Process approach is actually analyzing the whole process or the whole value chain of that specific environment, and make sure that you are addressing each one of those either through a policy, a SOP, a form, any kind of thing, any kind of documentary evidence, because it is coming into this part there. And then improvement. How do we continuously improve? How do we better ourselves from yesterday to today to tomorrow? Because what you have done yesterday can be done better today, faster, in a better way. You have learned something yesterday that you didn't know of. So how do you improve yourself? Then we are speaking about evidence-based decision making. If you don't have evidence, you cannot make decisions. And so if we're looking now with COVID, everybody's speaking about the economies must open, etc. And everybody is pleading with everyone in the world to say that please people, look at the science, look at the data. If the data is informing you that you can open, open. If the data is informing you that you cannot open in certain areas, that is hotspots, don't open. And that is your evidence-based decision making, because someday, somewhere, you need to go and actually explain your decision that you have made. And that decision, if you don't have evidence about that, you are sitting with I want to say you're sitting in trouble. Your relationship management, very important, and then customer focus. So these 7 environments is critical for the whole international standards organization. And this is the 7 principles that every ISO is being built on. I'm going to be looking at process approach today, and we have done evidence-based documentation and evidence in webinar number 8. So if you're looking at the hierarchy of documents, very important, because if you're looking at this, you will see that there's a structure and a strategy within documents that you need to understand and that you need to know. So if you're looking at level 1 documents, so firstly, there are 4 levels of documents: level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 1 documents is speaking about governance documents, anything to do with governance documents. So everything to do with that is guiding the structure and the strategy of your organization, whether it is the policies, whether it is scope, management reviews, strategic documents, MOUs, service level agreements, everything that has got a direction for your company to actually drive your objectives. Your level 2 documents is speaking about taking the policy and the scope and everything else, your strategic documents, your objectives, taking that and determining out of that, what do you need to do, who needs to do it, by when do you need to do it, how do you do it, where do you do it, and why. And this is actually a higher level document than the next level, where you are actually talking about the description of the detail. So the description of the detail is here about specifications. It is here, you can have a checklist that you can have to make sure that the level 2 processes are actually executed. And then you've got a level 4 document that is actually giving you all the evidence. So this means if you had a meeting, do you have the attendance list of that meeting? If you had a meeting, do you have a recording of the meeting? Do you have a meeting? Do you have the minutes of that meeting? How do you refer back to a meeting in saying that I've got this evidence, you have said that at that time, and because of that, you have created for me the scope, and within that scope, I have executed my contractual obligations in terms of what I've got there. So all of these, you can plot it on any kind of system, whether it is Xmind or MindJet, Mind Manager, or Visio diagrams, or any kind of thing. You need to be in a space to actually explain how did you get to the levels of documents, how does it fit into each other. It is actually like a chain loop. You cannot have a level 3 document if it doesn't hook onto a level 2 document. You cannot have a level 2 document if it doesn't hook onto a level 1 document. And you cannot have evidence level 4 documents if you don't have the level 1, 2, and 3 documents already in place there as well. So it is actually your chain of evidence. And if you break the chain of evidence where you've got possibly a level 1 document, level 2 document, but you haven't got a level 3 document, and you've got then level 4 documents, then you are actually in a space where you've got a huge gap. Now, I just want to go through the types of documents that is out there. So if you're looking at a policy, we have talked about the level 1 document in the previous slide. So this is a level 1 document. The procedure. A procedure is a specific instructions that clearly explains the steps. Now that speaks to me about detail. Now detail is for me a level 3 document on the hierarchy. Guidelines. Guidelines is general declaration to achieve the policy objectives by providing guidance on good practices to be followed. Now that is for me a level 2 document because it is not yet It is coming out of your policy. It is going forward, and you can see the policy is being used. So the policy is level 1 document. Guidelines is then level 2 document. A guarantee is a written agreement about longevity on security operations or any kind of operations of a product. And this one is, that guarantee is actually a level 1 document, because you can take it to court. You can take it to court and you can actually claim damages about that. A charter is description of agreements between the organization and a group of actors, such as users, employees, suppliers, and service providers. Now, if you're only looking at the Labor Relations Act, in a Labor Relations Act, we are speaking about a workplace agreement. Now, a workplace agreement is between the employees and the employer. And that workplace agreement is actually governing a relationship between the employees and the employer through the union, or yes, the union that is working on that premises. So that is a level 1 document. A schematic process illustrating the working steps of a process. So that gives me detail. So that's a level 3 document. A narrative process is a detailed explanation, is level 3 immediately. A form. A form can be a paper. It can be electronically. It can be an empty form, an empty checklist, an empty attendance list. It can be something that you have designed to be used as evidence. So a form, if it's not completed, it is a level 3 document, because it is just a template. But the moment that you are starting to be using then that form, you are and you complete it, then it's starting to be evidence. A guide is a practical document giving detailed instructions. That is level 3 documentation. And the data sheet, also technical information that gives you how to install, use, and maintain. That gives you a level 3 documentation. Now, out of this, if you're looking at the ISO environment, it is actually speaking about the following. So clause 7.5.2.2 stipulates that the organization shall establish and maintain a record to demonstrate conformity to the requirements of its management system. The records include, amongst others, records required by the international standards, your licenses and operation permits, your personnel screening, training records, processing, monitoring records, inspection, maintenance, and calibration records, pertinent subcontractor and supplier records, incident records. And then in 7.5.2, the creation and updating of the records is in the records has to do with records of incident investigations and their dispositions. Audit results are also documentation, management reviews, external communication decisions, records of applicable legal requirements, records of significant risks and impacts, weapons inventory, licenses, cars, everything, the records of management systems, etc. So everything that's applicable on records is documented in 7.5.2. 7.5.3 is actually speaking for me a much broader and much more applicable language, because if you're looking at this is an extract of any standard, but 18788 is speaking about the documentation, document information required by the management system and by the international standard shall be controlled to ensure the following: that it is available and suitable for use, where and when it is needed. So if you've got a person that is let's talk about construction. You've got a flag man or a flag person or a flag lady that is standing there in the bundus, and they are controlling the traffic and access to your environment. Do that person have availability and suitability, and do they have access to the operating procedure that's applicable on that person, where they are and when they are needing it, that they can refer to it, that it is adequately protected from loss or confidentiality, improper use, or loss of integrity. So all these things, if that person that is a flag lady or a flag person is having having the document, where do they store it? Do they store it in a temporary hut that is there, that is actually leaking full of water, and that paper is now lying in the water and it is damaged? So you need to make sure that your environment and documentation environment is protected. And then the control over this, for the control of documented information, the organization shall address the following activities. Now, very important here, because we will be addressing this practically. I will give you a practical example of a policy and a procedure that we have developed for ourselves, as well as what we are implementing in with our clients. And so for the control documentation, it says for distribution, access to it, retrieval, and the use of it, and the storage and preservation, including preservation of legibility. Now, legibility, some of the receipts that one is getting when you're paying with a credit card, the moment that receipt is getting hot, or that is exposed to heat, the ink is actually flowing away. Now you've got evidence, that is, you've got a receipt, but that receipt is blank. So actually you've got nothing there. So legibility is extremely important. It must be available to be read and understood. And the control of changes, version control, extremely important. And then we are speaking about the retention and disposition that we are speaking about. Now I'm going to just give you a, so 7.5.3 also says that the organization shall establish, implement, and maintain procedures to, firstly, approve documents for adequacy prior to issue. Secondly, protect sensitivity and confidentiality of information. Thirdly, to review, update as necessary, and reapprove documentation. Fourth is record amendments, to record the amendments to documents. Very important, that one. I just want to see somebody's is not on mute. Got it. Thank you. And then the last one, they make update and approve documentation readily available to everybody that needs it. So this is the documentation management lifecycle. So firstly, we are speaking about the creation of it. How do you create it? And why do you create it? And where does it link onto? What is the link that you've got there to actually say that it is linking onto a level 1, a level 2, level 3, or level 4 document? Secondly, identification. Identification, how do you identify that document? Now, very important, because that document need to be unique on its own, that it cannot be confused with any other documentation. And as a result of that, that document needs to have a unique number, a unique reference number, a nomenclature that you are speaking about. And for people that don't know what is a nomenclature, it is a naming convention. A naming convention is critical, because you need to be in a position to say that it is a CREST Advisory Africa document, a CAA document. It is for the operations department, or for HR, or for finance, or for everybody. It is a policy, a procedure, an SOP, etc. And then it is the number of the document, and then the revision of the document. Then you've got classification and security around that. How do you classify the document? Is it secret? What is your classification structure that you've got? What is the modification process? How do you modify documents that has been developed, let's say 2 years ago, and your life cycle for that document to be reviewed is every 3 years, but now you went into a merger, and because of that merger, you need to go and modify that document. What is the process for change control there? Then approval. How do you approve that document, and what is the different approval levels? Because policies need to be signed off, because it is strategic level. It needs to be signed off either by the executive and the CEO and the board, or can you issue a checklist in your environment with you as the highest authority on that specific, I want to say, Patterson grading level? Distribution. Who has got access to it? Who can actually know what is being written in that document? Because Some documents is only for high level people. It is only for level, let's say on a Patterson level, level F, E, and Ds. And then that needs to be classified. Adequate use. We have spoken in 7.5.3 about documents need to be accessible and it needs to be available where and when it is needed. So adequate use is actually telling you that the documents cannot be stagnant. It must be used. It is not a document that you have developed and now it is lying somewhere just to protect yourself. It is about how does it create value and how does it protect value for your people. Then we're talking about archiving. Archiving is critical because what you have got in your documents could have designs for patents. It has got access to, so you can have your whole IP environment needs to be archived. I just want to explain there. We had a client that was that is in our forensic, in our cyber forensic ISO 27001 environment, and these guys are actually baking cookies. They are a world leader in baking cookies, and I'm not going to mention a name, but they have got all the recipes that was already made since 1908. They've got all those things on their electronic systems, and they got hacked. And people were stealing their recipes, not anything else, not personal information. They were stealing their recipes. And now people has got access to actually go and duplicate what they've got. And now they've got a competitor in their own market. Then disposal of documentation. How do you dispose of it? How do you make sure that if something is disposed of, that it is really disposed of? And all of these things must be documented in a procedure. I'm going to talk to you about what we are doing with documentation. As I said earlier, CREST is accredited in 17 standards. So from ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, I'm not going to list everything here, but we have built toolkits that has got all this documentation that you need already available. That is readily done. It is available for you. So please contact us on toolkits@crestadvisoryafrica.com, and we will assist you in those. And I'm going to give you two practical examples. One is a level 1 document that is our OHS policy, and then I'm going to give you a level 2 document that speaks about performance monitoring procedure, and I will be sharing that with you. I just want to go out of this share quickly, and then I will share the documents with you. Sorry. Just want to open this one first. Thank you. And then that's it. There we are. So if you're looking at what we have actually spoken about in the presentation, this is our occupational health and safety policy, our template of it. So firstly, we are seeing there's a classification. Is it secret, top secret or not? So there's your document name or your naming convention. It is occupational health and safety policy. Discipline, is it for the SHEC environment? Is it for operations environment? Which environment is actually applicable on that? Prepared by, very important, because this is the author. This is the author of this document. And the question is, does the author have knowledge about, firstly, the discipline? Secondly, does the author have knowledge about the discipline itself and what is the context of the organization in that space? Then we have got the document type. Is it a procedure, a policy? What is it? We've put it in here, a procedure. We can change it. It is there. Which area and section is it applicable on? And then your classification. And you can have a classification there of secret, top secret, confidential. It doesn't matter. And then you've got here, what is your revision date? or your revision number. Usually you are starting with a 00, then a 01, 02, 03, your date that you have issued it, the recipient of it, who has drafted it, certified by whom, approved by, what is your classification and your status. And you can see here at this bottom, this is our naming convention. So we are speaking here about, we have got a naming convention about CREST, Advisory Africa, so it is CAA. It is occupational health and safety. It is a policy. There's our number, and you can see there that this is the actually the no, now that we are in this COVID-19, I want to say this is our novel document, our zero-based document. Then the document revision register. What is your revision, and how did you, what is your date of that, and what did you change in the policy? Very important, because this keeps the whole history of the policy live. Then we are going to go over to your approvals. The person that has drafted it, very important, he's the guy with the knowledge, he's the author, he must sign it. All right, he's the person that whose name is in there, he must sign it. Certified by, it can be his superior, but this needs to be documented in your document process, who needs to sign off what kind of documents. And then finally approved by, let's say, the CEO on that level, who's his name, what is his position, and the date and signature of it. Then distribution. Who's got authority to actually have access to that document? Is it all employees, or is it executive committee? Is it management committee? Is it all supervisors? Who can have access to that documentation, and how is it distributed, and when is it distributed? Because all the previous documentations, whether it is a 00 number, and you are issuing a 01 number, and you are saying that in the first, in the 00 revision, or the novel document, all employees has access to it, but now we are bringing something else into this. So we are saying that all supervisors and possibly executives, etc., can have access to this. Then validity and archiving of a document. You need to be indicating what is the period that the document is valid for. Is it valid for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or do you have to revise it on a different, is it 18 months? So your date of your review, that needs to be done, because then you can program it on your system to actually say that that document need to be 6 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on your document life cycle for the reviewing of it. How quickly can you actually put it through, and that you've got enough time to actually get everything there. Archiving method, is it electronically, is it paper on site, is it paper off site, is it in a CD format, is it in a cloud, is it in Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive? Where does that thing lies? Is it on any other system that you've got? And then the period of archiving could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And then we are speaking here about the disposal. Do you shred it? Do you burn it? Do you recycle it? Do you pulp it? Do you do a chemical recycling? Do you crush it? Do you cut it? You can have any methodology that you can have in there, and this is critically important that all of these are actually documented, because the methodology about the disposal of it, if you are giving it to, if you are outsourcing the archiving of your documentation, and you are actually giving it to a company that is not qualified in document management. Now, document management is a fantastic standard that was issued last year, ISO 30301. If they don't comply with that, they are going to throw your documentation that's got all your IP in the rubbish bin, and it is going to be on a rubbish dump, and then people that is actually scavenging for paper or for those kind of things has got access to your patents, has got access to your intellectual property. So it must be, in this kind of way, it must be destroyed and disposed of. Then if you're looking at the table of contents, if you're looking at a policy, firstly, purpose. Purpose is critically important, because why are you actually writing a policy and a procedure? If you don't know why you are writing it, then what is the purpose of having a document? Secondly, the scope. Scope means, if people people that don't understand scope means the boundaries that you are setting for this specific document to be applicable on and to. So the scope means it is applicable to a specific department. It is applicable to a specific environment of people. It is specifically applicable to a group of stakeholders. What is your scope? Is it applicable on the whole organization in a specific area, such as South Africa, or is it applicable only on Botswana, Namibia, Kenya? It doesn't matter. But you need to determine the scope of that policy. Then your policy statement. Very important, and I will get to that. What is your key outcomes that you want to achieve by this, through this policy? Who is now responsible for the policy? What's the penalties and sanctions? Critical, because if you don't mention in your policy already that if you are not complying with this document, and they will be taking sanctions if it is internal personnel, if it's external personnel, is it, do you have penalties in your service level agreement? How do you manage your whole environment to make sure that this is working correctly? Supporting procedures. What is linked onto this procedure to determine what is my level 1, what is my level 2, what is my level 3, what is my level 4 documents, and what is other related documents? Again, what is my level 1 to 4 documents? So list of definitions, please, in a document, please, 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 I'm asking you, if I can be on my knees now, I would be. But please make sure that if you are using abbreviations, that the abbreviations are explained the first time that you are using it, like business continuity management system, that we are speaking about that, because that is critical. People don't know what is BCMS. BCMS can be standing for something else. Just like with Crest Advisory Africa, CAA can be standing for Civil Aviation Authority. And then we've got two different companies that we are speaking about. So very important that you have got this into your documents. And guys, if you don't know how to do this, that it is automatically rolled up into a list of definitions, please contact us. It is a simple function that you've got under your references, and you can, out of references, you can go there and mark an entry there, and this insert an index is actually making this for you. So list of definitions, very important. So the purpose of the document, you need to determine what is the purpose. Do you really need this thing or not? The main objectives, what is the main objectives of this document? What is the outcomes that you want to actually achieve by this document? This document cannot be worthless. If you're looking at the value, the financial value of a policy document, and you start to quantify, I want to say, this paperwork, and you are saying this policy document has been developed by all the executives with the CEO, and we have taken, let's say, 5 hours of it. Take the executives and the CEO's hourly rate and multiply that on how much time was actually spent to develop this document, because people don't see the value and the financial cost of having documents. Documents are extremely expensive, especially good documents, because you need to go through a whole consultative process, and everybody that is actually involved in that process is costing money, because you are taking them away from their core business, and you are actually putting them in a space where they are taking time to go through the document, and they can take their time on it. So the cost of a document, you need to go and evaluate and quantify the cost of documents. So the main objectives, what is your 3, 4, 5 main objectives on this occupational health and safety policy? Occupational health and safety policy is in every company. It is a regulatory document that you have to have, and you must have it. So you can do that. Scope. I've spoken about the scope, so you can say this scope is for the whole company and it needs to be implemented in the whole company. Policy statement, very important here is that you are creating behavioral norms through the design of policies. And the awareness campaign that we have got here, just on top 1.2.5, awareness are changing behaviors. Awareness campaigns are changing behaviors of people. And this has to be led by the tone at the top. It has to be led by the executive committee, etc. It needs to be continuously improved. It needs to be inherent positive OHS culture. It needs to be an organizational-wide OHS, and then you can implement it throughout the organization. And then the role of the OHS committee, what do you put down there? What is your key outcomes that you want to achieve out of this? Who is now responsible for that? The penalties and sanctions. I just want to stop there. That any user who violates this policy is subject to disciplinary action up to and including dismissal, including criminal prosecution as described by the CAA Discipline Code. Very important, because this sets the tone already. If you break this, you pay for it. It's the same. If you pick it up if you pick up a very expensive item in a shop and you break it, you pay for it. The same here. If you don't implement the policy and the contents of the policy, you pay for it. And then you're supporting, and this is actually, I want to say that disciplinary code, this is actually consequence management. So what is the consequence that was actually caused by you? I want to say a simple thing, by coming late. Every day that you are late, it is actually that you are stealing from the company. You are stealing time. You are stealing time. I am working with one client outside outside our borders, and the first on the hotline tip-off hotline number, the first incident that they are actually listing there is not fraud or corruption, etc. It is actually stealing of company time. Stealing company time. So if you are supposed to work 8 hours a day, then you are supposed to work 8 hours a day. So work your 8 hours a day. If you are working 7 hours and 45 minutes, you have stolen 15 minutes, and you are the corrupt one then. And that needs to be, your behavior needs to be set correctly. Your supporting procedures, you've got it there, and then every document that is actually linking to it is your related documents, whether it is a level 1 document, a level 2 document, level 3 document, or level 4 document. So you can have everything that you've got here. So if you're talking about the committee, the OHS committee, I would further have in here to say that this is our agenda, this is the minutes, this is where we can get the minutes, this is the nomenclature of the minutes that you've got there. I want to show you another document. I see that we are 11:44. I just want to go on performance. Just want to share this with you. If you're looking at performance management is actually clause 9. Clause 9 in the standard. Now, if you're looking at performance management, again, we've got the same methodology. We've got our nomenclature there. We've got our document approvals, document distribution, everything else, and then we are coming here to say what is the objectives of monitoring, the definitions, monitoring requirements, what needs to be monitored, because this is stipulated in the standard. What do you want to monitor? And this is based on what is your objectives. If your objectives is clearly defined, it's very simple to go and actually say, my objective is, let's say I'm running a guest house. My objective is how many, and I want to measure the marketing effort. How many posts do I have on Facebook? How many reads and likes do I have on Facebook? What is my environment that I'm actually working in here? Because guest houses can be certified in ISO 9001 because it is customer service, it's quality management. And then they need to actually say, what do we need to monitor? The methods of monitoring, when the monitoring shall be performed. Now you can see this is a lower document than what we've got in a level 1 document. This is a level 2 document because we are saying here, what do we do? Why do we do it? Where do we do it? Etc. What is our levels of monitoring, the results of monitoring, the capturing of the monitoring data? How do you analyze that? The reporting of monitoring activities, the compliance management, the output of the monitoring, consequence management, this is the discipline management, the related documents, and then all the annexures. Now, I just want to go to the monitoring requirements and what needs to be monitored. And guys, if you're looking at clause 9 of any standard, it is speaking about 3 levels there of assurance. So firstly, the first level, 9.1, is has to do with monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation. Each of those, it is actually 4 different things that you are doing because your monitoring methodology is going to be different from your measurement methodology. Your analysis methodology is going to be different from your measurement methodology. Your evaluation methodology is different from analysis. So each of those needs to be having a different document because you need to explain how do you use, we've got a methodology that we are working with, P square is T square. Now P square is T square means exactly what we've got here: people, process, systems, tools, and technologies. And we've put in the processes and functions, or functions and products now as well. The methods of monitoring, it can be observation. So you need to link it to what is your audit principles. So is it observation? Is it interviews? Is it statistics? Is it analysis? Is it technical reviews? Is it anything that you can have there? You need to have that in there to describe it because an auditor needs to know how do you do A, B, and C. And then when will it be monitored? Is it per shift, per day, per second day, uh, every day of the week, bi-monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, etc. And then the levels of monitoring is actually documented here. Is it a line function that is level 1? Is it the specialist function level 2? Is it internal auditors that is level 3? Is it external assurance that is level 4? Is it external fraud examiners level 5? Is it a regulatory inspection that's level 6? So level 1 to 3 is your internal environment, and level 4 to 6 is your external environment. The results of the monitoring, how will you document the results of it? So all of these need to be documented manually or electronically. You can determine what needs to be done, and then capturing of the monitoring data. A specific person shall be appointed to ensure that all the data collected are captured either manually or electronically. So that is your data management process, and the reporting out of that is going to be, you need to set the appetite and the tolerance there in your total universe of what do you monitor, that you need to have a 95%, 75%, 85%. You set your standard there because this is where you need to be working to. Compliance management is then any non-conformances need to be addressed in terms of the non-conformance environment, and you need to issue a non-conformance, whether it is a major non-conformance, a minor non-conformance, an observation, opportunity for improvement, etc. And then your output of your monitoring is the output of the monitoring activity shall be the input for the measurement processes. Consequence management is your discipline process, and you can see here the later documents and links. This is what we have included there. So you can see each one has got a naming convention. Each one has got the document description, and then all your annexures that you are working with is also listed in there. Now, on that, I'm going to stop the share here, and I just want to go back again to my spread, my presentation. There we are. Elian, just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, thank you. So I just want to go back quickly to where we were. Sorry for this one. There we are. So if you're looking at, I want to close off just to explain to you that Crest, although we are internationally working and etc., we have got membership, or we are members of certain organizations, and we are endorsed as well by these organizations. As I've explained earlier, the PCB is one of our critical ones. We are also working with the Institute of Risk Managers of South Africa. We are accredited by the the Qualifications Authority, and other environments as well. Please go to our website and see what you can go and learn there. What you can go and take off there. There's webinars, there's articles, brochures and catalogs. There's podcasts that we have done, white papers. We have on this invite that we sent out to you, that went out yesterday. We have last week's webinar number 8 is on YouTube. So you can go and have the access to our YouTube channel. Go and subscribe there, please, and you will have I want to say, a mountain of knowledge and knowledge sharing that we are doing with you and for you. As a bonus, we want to invite you, send us a note, send Elaine or myself a note. I will give you the contact details. We will give you 6 weeks access to our Athletic system. That's a fantastic system, really. And it is guiding you in the health and maturity of the implementation of your ISO or your management system. It doesn't have to be an ISO. Use the system to actually measure your own environment. So we will give you the registration on that. So you will be for 6 weeks available using our system. And please attend we've got webinars every Wednesday. We have had on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we have decided that we are going to have every Wednesday between 11 and 12 o'clock having our webinars, and that is just 1 hour of your time away a week. And I want to thank you for your attendance, and this is our contact details. So is there any questions? Helene?
Yes, Nico, there was just one question from Dongle. I'm not sure exactly what's his name. Is it ISO requirement that we classify all the documents?
It is stipulated in the standard. So that classification there. So there has to be a classification. Yes, every document has got a security value and a classification value. So this is protect sensitivity. This is in 7.5.3. Protect sensitivity and confidentiality of information. And you can also see there that if you're looking at adequately protected, this is in 7.5.3 as well. It is adequately protected from loss of confidentiality, improper use, or loss of integrity. And that is stipulated. So there's also the beautiful word that is saying shall. And shall it means a requirement. So yes, it should be. Any other questions, Helene?
Nothing on this side.
I see that there was now a...
Yeah, just a thank you from the same person to say that the session was very informative and well organized.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely and safe period. And I will see you next week, Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Enjoy. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.